Hello everyone, this is Steven and welcome to my Marvel Heroes Quick Look series. In honor of her new comic, today we're going to be taking a look at the unbeatable Squirrel Girl, one of my favorite characters in this game. What the goal of this series is to show you how powers work so you can better spend your points, better spend your G's and splinters when purchasing new heroes. So, Squirrel Girl has 3 trees. Let's fight squirrels and more squirrels. Okay, and as always, I'm doing this completely ungeared with the exception of my costume, which for her, it's not really something to worry about. Oh, there we go. Okay, so first I'll go over the passive in this trait, which is Squirrel Distraction. Your maximum health increases, your dodge increases, and you get more dodge per squirrel. Now, you can have up to 15 squirrels at any given time. And when you dodge a melee attack, you do damage back. You also gain defense and tenacity when you hit with a melee. So it really benefits actually smacking people to have this power. And being right up there taking the damage. Okay, so first we'll look at Claw, Claw, Kick. It's named so because Claw, Claw, Kick. And as you can see, one of the passives is these squirrels are already starting to show up. That tends to happen. This is from the Squirrel Friends ability, which I'll show you. Well, I'll show you that right now. At least the passive part of it. Passive part is whenever you hit with a power, you summon a squirrel. Here right now I have my 15, and they're going to town. The next power is Forest Walk, which is just your roll. As long as your opponent controls the forest, they can't block it. Little magic joke. Okay, next you have Squirrel Twirl. It does knockdown and bleed. Just that. And you can just twirl around, just smacking the crap out of everyone. And she gets a lot of damage going on. You have Dive Bomb. Slows enemies, they deal less damage. Just boop. Just a basic crash down. Not as impressive as Nightcrawler's. It doesn't feel as strong as Spider-Man's, despite whatever the damage may be. Next we have the Nutcracker. It knocks them down. It's a 2-hit. It does extra damage per squirrel. So let's see. Kick in the balls, kick in the head. Yep, just like that. Balls, head, balls, head, balls, head. Just like that. And it's a 1-hit for the 2-hit. You press the button once and it hits twice. Not that bad. The damage increases per active squirrel. 3%. It's about 45 extra damage the more squirrels you have. And lastly we have Savage Swipes. It's like that. It's like Claw Claw Kick, which restores Spirit. Except this has a better damage per active squirrel. Exactly the same as the Nutcracker does. So if you want a base that does damage, you want Savage Swipes. Okay, the next tree we're going to look at is Squirrels. Now this one, it's more damage dealing squirrels. Like you are actively doing the damage as opposed to the squirrels. So the first one we have is Squirrel. Single squirrel restores spirit on hit, and it bounces. I'll show you over here where you can more see. Come on, buddies. Hold on, try to do it quickly. There you go. You can see it bounces. See, it's hard to tell. I did not know for the longest time that it bounced because there's so many squirrels. But it's a basic power that bounces, like the Ricochet Blast for Cyclops. It's fantastic. It restores spirit. Just great. The next we have Death from the Trees. Deadly Squirrels leap down from the trees, pummeling and slowing enemies. Does physical damage twice a second and slows them. So let's do some Death from the Trees. Just like that. Let's take a look. There's something I want to say about it. You just press it once, and it lasts for 6 seconds. So you do not have to hold it down. Next one we have is acorn artillery. Distant group of squirrels lobs a giant acorn high into the air to crush enemies at target location. It does 3 hits. It does alright damage per hit with a bit of a cooldown. So, acorn artillery. Which is, as the box promise, giant acorns. Okay, next we have Squirrel Apocalypse. I would watch that movie, Sci-Fi. I would watch that movie. It does physical damage, it does bleed, it makes them take more damage. So it's a good one to smack with right when you start to get them to take that extra damage. But when you want to do real damage against a boss with a attack, you're going to want the last one in this tree, which is the auto fire acorns. Which is you hold it down, it has 4.3 per second attack, which is good. It increases up to a maximum of 100% faster to 8.6. That's a lot, especially since it is a boss killer. The damage is really low, but you can see how that just stacks up there. Just for example, let's pump some points into it. Auto fire acorns. It is a favorite skill of mine. Yeah, ungeared. That's good damage. And when I say ungeared, I do not take off my synergies because I will be too lazy to put them back on. And I have Omega points on, clearly. But it is a fantastic skill, and all you need is a couple squirrels, and you're going right back up in your spirit. And get right back at it again. I highly think it's a viable build to go pure physical damage for this thing. Okay, and then we have the signature, which is the Hulkbuster Squirrels. Very similar to Psylocke's signature, it summons a swarm of them and they attack enemies. Watch. And yes, those are squirrels in Hulkbuster Iron Man armor. Okay, the last tree we're going to look at, before I do that, we have one passive in this tree, Squirrel Cunning. You gain 30% extra spirit, projectile deflection chance, critical hit rating, and critical hit damage rating. The critical damage rating is increased per squirrel, which is great. And that does not go up as you level it. But you can have 120 per squirrel at 15 squirrels. That's a good damage rating increase. As a passive, that's very good. Some of the best, like, insignias and stuff will only give you that much of a bonus. Okay, the last tree is more squirrels. The first one we have the boring one, which is Squirrel Heart. Crowd control immunity. But if as a passive, you and your allies gain dexterity. 1 pointer to give that to your whole team, that's fantastic. Even if you don't use it. Even if you just dump a point in there. And next we have Squirrel Friends. We saw this in the passive side, which summon the little buggers when you hit. If you actively activate it, it's an instant swarm of squirrels with a cooldown. The next one we have is Squirrel Special Forces. It summons 6 squirrels. It has a good duration. All squirrel damage is increased by 10%. Their brutal and critical chance is increased by 10%. So let's do that. And there are the special forces right there. You can tell the difference because they have the adorable little camouflage and helmets on. Adorable. Okay, next one we have Squirrel Saboteurs. They come down and they beat the enemy into submission, but they leave, as you can see. It does physical damage for the squirrel, and the power is increased by effects that grant damage to summon allies. So, despite them leaving, they still get the summon bonus, is what that says. It does not cost spirit. So that can be a bit overwhelming if you want to do that. I wouldn't recommend it though. Next one you have is Squirrel Presence. This one I'm not exactly keen on, but it's good. Your squirrels explode. Well, they drop bombs that explode, then they leave. You can see, I will do it now. If you saw how that worked, you could see that the squirrels... Well, why am I doing that? There you go. Watch. You'll see them all run away and leave little acorns that blow up and do damage. And then we have one last one. So let's get some squirrels. And this is the move that Squirrel Girl is going to want to use constantly. This is Sick 'em. It does physical damage for the squirrels is increased. It does damage per squirrel, I should say. They take extra damage from squirrels. Now, it doesn't sound the best, but I can show you the second I get Special Forces back. Just so we have the full effect. And we'll target this guy here. Oh. Where did all my squirrels go? I apologize. Give me a moment. There are my squirrels. And there it goes. They all target him. They all target the one target. Does a lot of damage to it. Increases their damage in general. He takes more damage. Now if you want to do it even more, you do Squirrel Apocalypse. Summon your best squirrels, then do it. And if you watch your cooldown, you do this. Get the damage in. Squirrel Presence. Summon squirrels again. And Sick 'em again. You can do a nice combo with that. And there are the only passive is Squirrel Friends in this tree. And lastly, we have Tiny Hug Barrage. One of the few ultimates that I actually have a lot of points in. I'm not a big fan of it either, because you have to get in close if you're not using melee. It does physical damage twice per second. It has Acorn Artillery. And it has a 20% chance for knockdown. So let's take a look at that. Also, it will lag anyone's computer that is not really well, so your friends will hate you for this. In general, your friends will hate you for using Squirrel Girl because it will lag crappy computers. As you can see, it does a lot of damage. It's really good. It does a lot of damage against big crowds of enemies, but it requires you to be near them. And if that's an issue for you, I'd be a little wary about using it unless you're sure you'll survive. But that's the end of Squirrel Girl's powers. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.